After a fierce battle with the purple freaks that are the shrieking bandits, this resulted in the death of one of our gangsters. The heroes luckily are now back home at Bad Guy City and unloading from their previous deadly adventure. And with a pretty close call being that they were almost slaughtered by purple people, I knew we needed to hit the training gym in order to gain some extra levels. Our gang leader B01, the top G, is also extremely damaged. His left arm is basically useless right now, and I needed him to heal in a skeleton repair bed while we sorted out training for the other top Gs. Everybody's been asking me for a mod list. I'll finally address it. Okay, I purposely been stalling it out and blue balling you guys. I'm gonna hold on like kind of like a hostage or blackmail type situation here. If we can get the sub ratio up to 20%, I'll make a full video talking about my favorite mods. I'll show off all the mods I've played with for years, as well as show off some new ones, and I'll make a full Steam list which will have every mod I use. And I'll even update the mod list as I go with the gang series. So if you haven't already, remember to hit subscribe, join the Cool Kid Empire, leave a like. I didn't run out of that house fire and lose everything to bounce back and be chilling at 16%, okay? We can do better than that. Also, I quickly want to let you guys know my Discord server is going under a huge revamp, so I want to encourage you guys to join it. I've got a giveaway going on as well right now for Sands of Salazar. This game's pretty cool. It's like Dynasty Warriors and Kenshi kind of mixed. I honestly really mess with it. And the devs reached out to me and gave me a free copy, as well as 5 free copies to give away to you guys. So to enter to join one of the 5 free copies, you got a really good shot. I'm guessing there's probably going to be like, 20 to 50 people doing it. Just go into the Discord server, go into the giveaway, and hit that little party icon, the little emote, and you'll be entered into the giveaway. Anyways, at Bad Guy City, things have been getting a little bit slower as of recent. Seeing as we have hundreds of building materials and iron plates, it's finally time to set up some walls, I'm thinking. Everybody made sure to bug me in the last video, so I really appreciate that, as it did encourage me to actually make the big move today, and we started to place down some nice walls. Look at this shit, man. It looks beautiful. I made this huge, nice square. This looks way better than any of the other bases I've made before. And I also even gave myself plenty of room so we can still expand Bad Guy City or add more to it without making it look super ridiculous. Now, shortly after, I was proving myself yet again on why we need walls and defenses, as a huge group of Shek warriors would approach Bad Guy City and begin to attack. It seems like most of these groups aren't even calculated attacks either. You see, since we're in Shek territory and we're enemies with them or whatever, any kind of like patroller groups or caravans or scouts the Sheks have that wander around will eventually stumble into our utopia of an outpost, and then they'll attack it, of course. On the bright side, they drop planks, fragment axes, and lots of good weapons, which are pretty good for profit. I mean, I can sell most of them for 1k, even with some of them being higher tier and selling up to 4k cats. It's a really good side hustle and worth doing, as we have market stalls and we have a bunch of random tourists at the base anyways. But I already had 2 of the market stalls filled up with weapons, so I'd have to set up a 3rd stand and then to begin to build that as well. We're currently on day 85, so while I do have most of the essentials set up at Bad Guy City, we've still got a lot of cool stuff to do in the upcoming videos. Right around like 22 o'clock, that was when I realized Crumblejohn has crumbled onto the ground, as one of his legs were knocked off at some point. It happens all the time at Bad Guy City. We don't really look into it. You know how it is. You twist your ankle and your leg rolls off and you gotta get a prosthetic. It's just how it goes. I made a mental note to get him a new leg, which is pretty terrifying. I mean, he didn't even get put into a bed until days later, so chances I get him a new leg are slim to none. Either way, the rest of our gangsters were in acceptable health conditions, so I began to set up the rest of the crew in a training room so we could level up some skills like strength, dexterity, and toughness. But while we were all training, I kept on running into the same problem. It's pretty annoying. You see there's constant like wanderers and butt heads who just bump into our guys. This will constantly knock them out of a training zone, so I have to, like make them go back to the training zone and click on the thing. Or it's a fucking shit show. It builds up so much unnecessary stress that I do not need in my life. So I really need to rebuild the training room in the future episodes to prevent negative mental health conditions upon myself. But other than that, we had an upcoming bandit raid to look forward to, so I knew we definitely needed to heal a majority of our party after everything is said and done. And on day 86 at 17 o'clock, the Sheks arrived at Bad Guy City, ready to attempt yet another assault on the stronghold. Chompy, who was outside of the walls having an innocent snack on a previous Shek raid victim, was the first to get knocked down and be ganged up on. The rest of Bad Guy City was pissed, okay? Chompy's like their mascot, so they had to go and definitely give a good fight to the Sheks. It was easy for a lot of them to go down, and Zagan was taking care of a lot of Sheks as he's become really strong at this point of the series. And I try not to remove anyone from the training room, just that way way I could get everybody else trained up a little bit with battling. But in the middle of this battle, we somehow attacked the Western Hive that was like wandering around, and their Garu started attacking everything. Now this terrified the shit out of me. We know the strength of the Garus. They hit for like 400 damage for some reason in the last episode, but thank Okran, this guy would just leave Bad Guy City. If not, that one Garu could have easily slaughtered the whole town. But after the Hives left, there's a different group of Sheks that ended up showing up called the Band of Bones. This is when I removed everyone from the training room and sent them outside of a gate to take care of this. I mean, the Sheks are some of the strongest characters and factions in Kenshi due to their powerful attacks and high health. They also have insane damage resistance, but the Catastrophes of course have handpicked some of the coolest and wackiest characters from around the Kenshi globe. I mean, at this point in the series, they're looking like a one-piece pirate group. It's pretty gnarly, bro. The Sheks are really no match for our heroes, so they were able to take down maybe a few gangsters, but a majority of them would end up going down before they'd even be able to do anything. Then, after the battle, it was on to making sure everybody was healed and not dead and bleeding out, so getting everybody into beds and skeleton beds was the main priority. On day 87, our walls were then finally finished being built. This was super nice, as I could now place down some stairs. Now, you guys already know I got these cool sideways stairs that came out from a mod like last year. These are dope. I love them so much, man. Like, before we only had those straightforward stairs, and they really sucked. I mean, these stairs are just so much more clean looking. So after placing down those, I would then put down some turrets on each side of the gate walls, and now we were set. The only thing we really needed now were people who were trained onto turrets, which we didn't have, but that'll come in time, of course. By the next morning, most of the group was healed and able to go back to the training gym until we would leave for our mission. The group wasn't very big, but we felt like it was time to launch an attack of their own soon. Only problem is that if they do, it's do or die. If they don't win, they either die on the battlefield or become prisoners of war for whoever they're attacking. Both fates can be argued over which one is worse. Before that though, there's lots of swords on the battlefield again, so Toro would go up picking them and then putting them in the marketplace to sell in town. Meanwhile, everyone else was beginning to die of starvation, so I had to send Panera Tan down to the way station of himself so he could grab some food for our guys. And while doing this, I don't know, I must have like hit a bong or something. I got distracted. I don't really know what excuse I got for this one. I bought a bunch of books and blueprints and like some cactus and random shit. I don't really know. At least we can research stuff, I guess. Once arriving back home, Panera Tan had a bunch of books to put into the research bench, and I went on to pick a lot of new technology. A bunch of these are cool stuff like furniture and buildings, so the next video will really be able to upgrade Bad Guy City. So let me know maybe a cool building idea or place that you want to see me add to Bad Guy City in the next episode. Now, I decided it'd be pretty cool and immersive to set up some outhouses in Bad Guy City. I was worried at this point in the playthrough people were going to start making lore for the series, and you know, we'll kind of just say like, oh, they must have just shit and pissed in the streets because there's no outhouses. So I wanted to get that set up, okay? I wanted to clear out that rumor right away. Then I placed down a cool station house which was near the corner of a base, and this is lined up pretty awfully, but it'll do. Now, once the first outhouse was built, I realized it had 2 seats in each house, so you could go like drop a deuce with a buddy or something. This is admittedly even more embarrassing than just shitting and pissing in the streets. So yeah, I don't know if that's a solution or not, but I guess it's gonna stay. Maybe the world would be better if we had outhouses with 2 holes in each one of them. Now that I remembered that our group was on the brink of starvation, I would send Panera Tan back to the way station with a bunch of copper to sell this time, with the goal of actually buying food. He would then basically buy all the food that the bar had, so poor luck to anyone hanging out there for the day, but we really need to supply the city. We also really need to figure out a self-sustaining source of food soon, because this is definitely draining on our resources having to buy food constantly. It was then on day 90 we had our final straw with the Sheks. Yet another assault. This one Shek guy was stuck floating in midair. I mean, it was pretty jokes. I laughed at it, but I'm sick of it every damn day. We're fighting like 2 to 3 separate groups of Sheks, and I know the Sheks already repress people and whatnot, but we're gonna need to repress the fuck out of them in order to survive this wasteland. The battles are pretty cool to admit. Like, I really do like fighting the Sheks. They always put up a strong fight, and when we do end up getting like double assaulted by both the Shek Empire and like Band of Bones, it truly is like a sight to behold. So after the battle, I split the groups up so half of our gang was at Bad Guy City and the other half were in the top Gs. The plan was now to prepare an assault on our our own and finally get back at the Sheks for the torment they've caused our gang. On day 91 at 4 a.m., the gang was ready. It was time to head to the Great Fortress and slaughter whatever Sheks that were there. This was surely going to be no easy task. B01 was confident in his group, but this could definitely go worse. I mean, with a Shrieking Bandit, it still went really bad, but the Shrieking Bandits ran off after. In this case, they're risking being killed or imprisoned by the Sheks. No matter what, they need to strike back, and now is the time. Bringing 10 of the strongest gangsters over to the fortress, the group would slowly go up to the hill and proceed to fight the guards at the gate. Before the battle was on, one of the Shek guards sees B01 and yells out his name to alarm the other guards that the battle of their lives was about to begin. The catastrophes are well known by Sheks in pretty much every faction at this point in the game, so they knew this day would come for them. The guards at the gate got taken down pretty fast and were no match for one-on-one combat. Moving into the fortress, more Shek guards would lead their outposts and flood the streets to begin to defend what was left of her ruined city. B01 of the gang didn't want to take anything other than the Shek's lives. On some cold-hearted gang shit. You know, he was tired of the Sheks. Their chance to deal a serious blow to the Shek's resources was now. About 20 Shek guards would end up getting knocked down, so the gang began to check the buildings and clear them out of any other Sheks. There was a general who had a 25,000 cat bounty on him from the Holy Nation. If we were able to claim this, it would be huge. So one by one, the gang started to take down the Shek guards, and were able to heal in the process and then kidnap the general. Still, the group was really hurting and damaged. I mean, some were just waking up from being knocked out, so they were nearly at their limits, but there were still 2 more buildings to check. Dr. Jules even lost a leg, so at this point we were basically down 1 gangster. And then plus poor Orta lost an arm, which is just tragic. She looked like so injured in the thumbnail, all stumpy and bloody and whatnot. So Toro would head into the next building, to which about a dozen Shek guards appeared. B01, being the true G he is, took on about half of them himself, while the rest of the group one by one was knocked down by the Sheks. This is when it was down to just Zagan and B01, and a bunch of Sheks had entered the gate. They were either reinforcements or just Sheks returning from a patrol, but either way this was not good. The battle was now more serious as ever, as pretty much the entire gang was knocked down. Zagan would try his best to assist B01, while Beep and the others would wake up slowly in the Shek buildings. B01's left arm was once again broken, leaving him to only fight with one hand, and for every Shek he knocked down, it seemed like just another would rise. And this would last until around 11 o'clock, when the entire gang was knocked out and defeated within the fortress. And while yes, we were able to kill and knock out a majority of the Shek guards that were there, the gangsters were now at the mercy of the Sheks and began to be picked up and thrown into cages. On top of this, they were all being stripped of their weapons, which was not good. I would then get half of Bad Guy City to run over to Fortress as fast as possible, as everyone who was there was now imprisoned and really hurt. And this didn't really seem to help, as that half wasn't really that strong and they'd be taken down pretty fast and imprisoned as well. The only ones they really couldn't touch at this point were Choppy and Zagan. I don't know, I guess the AI in the game doesn't imprison animals, if that makes sense, so Zagan and Chompy just kept on waking up and continuing to fight. Meanwhile, everyone else in the gang was imprisoned and behind bars. This was really bad. But on the flip side, there was a positive light to look at it. I mean, if you think about it, there were more gangsters now at the Great Fortress than there were Shek guards. All it would really take is for everybody to wake up, pick themselves out, and then escape. So one by one, the top Gs would begin to get out of their cages. Zagan was taking care of whatever guards there were, so once they had escaped, there wasn't really anyone that could stop them from doing so. The only problem that we had now was because we were imprisoned, we had to re-find all of our weapons, which is going to be a nightmare in this place. And on top of that, the whole gang was injured, and there was countless amounts of cats waiting to be made just sitting on the ground. So I decided to send one of our gangsters to the swamp to pick up backpacks so we could haul this stuff off and make some money back. There's so much loot inside of this fortress, which is sick. I mean, we've got a bunch of blueprints, we got a bunch of quality weapons, so even if we do lose our previous weapons, we're kind of set because we can already replace them at least. On the flip side, there were still Shek guards in groups getting up and as well as arriving into the fortress, so it would be some time before we were able to leave this place. But that's where I'm going to end this video. Before you go, I want to say thank you to everybody. My new PC fund is sitting at around $1,150 after a huge donation of over $600. So I want to thank whoever did that extremely. Like, that was awesome, and you're getting your name carved into the PC along with John. I'm really just like astonished that this has even happened. I mean, the build I'm looking at is around 1800, and what we've already got covers a majority of a PC, and I couldn't be any more thankful. Once I get all this money together, I promise we're gonna have a huge live stream and video on building the PC, and it's going to be the foundation for myself and everybody here to grow this channel and empire. Again, no, I can't thank you all enough for just the love and support you've given me, and even just watching the videos. Since I've been back, it's just been crazy. You know, I felt like that whole YouTube dream got taken away, but like, we might actually still have a shot at this, so we're going to keep on grinding out these videos until we hit the big leagues. Anyways, though, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.